Well, welcome Team Abundance to our Monday Zoom. It's so great to see so many smiles on here. And for those that are catching or recording later, thanks for plugging in and getting fed each week with us. We want to start, if Michelle Brunke has any wins for people to share, we'll kick it off with that.
Hello, happy Monday. Yes, we do have a few wins to share this week. Real quick, I'll just share a win of my own. One of my newer team members, Susan Elliott, completed her HLP last night, so that's super exciting. And then I know that Angie Horn had a win to share with us. Angie, are you available? All I see is your clothing.
You may have had to step away.
Okay. Christy, you also had a win to share. Would you like to go first?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you, Michelle. It's good to see you here too this morning again. We were at Boston late last night, so. Yes. Okay. So my win, looking for those divine interventions and just appointments here and there. We're part of a special needs ministry at our church where we buddy up. We call it SOAR ministry, where we buddy on the weekends one-on-one with a special needs child. And they had an appreciation night here this last Thursday night. And lo and behold, the person I sat next to, I never met her before. And her background, she has a 17-year-old with autism, but she works to help connect people in the community with special needs. And then I was like, gosh, I have to tell you about this tower and just some things we're doing and looking at horticulture therapy and whatnot. What have you ever seen something like this? And so all that to say, her husband, of course, his original degree was in horticulture therapy, and their vision is to have a farm and just some really amazing thing. He breeds tomatoes for the Midwest. So she came over Sunday night, then just last night, and popped over while her son was at youth group and got to see our tower. And again, just an impromptu, amazing connection. And so I'm really excited to see where God opens those doors and directs us down the road. So a big win with lots of connections and such that she has in special needs community here in Kansas City area. So thank you, Michelle.
That is awesome. I don't know if Angie is back yet. Angie? No. Okay. I have one other win that I wanted to share with everyone just to kind of reinforce how important it is to not let our own kind of thoughts in our mind keep us from following up with customers that might delay or cancel orders. I have a customer that ordered in January of last year after attending an event, and I still invite her. She's never able to come to anything. And she's delayed and delayed and delayed all year long. And we finally had to cancel it because it had been a year. And just this morning, she sent me a message asking if there was any way she could restart her order. So I just wanted to reinforce for everyone that that's kind of a big win. It's not a huge order, but it's nice to just reinforce in our brains that we do need to keep loving on them. And they are still taking it little by little. And so don't give up. I don't know if Angie's going to come back or not. We just have her clothing in the background.
So her in whenever she joins us, we'll let her share her win. And I didn't message Michelle, but I just wanted to share a win. For me was Michelle's events last week in Fayetteville. She did such a great job organizing and planning that. And she not only blessed the people that she invited to come, but several sideline distributors who came Thursday night and got new distributors and orders. So just kudos to her for taking that on and planning that. And I loved being together with her Friday for our tasting. So I do encourage you guys to buddy up with someone and make some recipes and have fun with that too. And I know Christy and I will touch on that a little bit more in our agenda today as well. But I'm going to let Christy give a quick update on our action game and a couple next steps with some things, and then we'll roll into some stuff we want to cover.
Yes, thank you, Julie. Okay, so we are getting ready to go into our final week of our action game, and I will send kind of some ideas of where we're at within the points leaders here out. So I'm still waiting to get from one team numbers back yet, so I will get those out to you here in the next day. And so a big reminder though too is we do have Nyla's action game, the bigger group, bigger team that is coming up here. The registration deadline is January January the 25th. So before Branson here, right? That's 2 days. So make sure, if you haven't already, go to our Team Abundance Facebook page and make sure you get your registration in. She prefers mailing the check to her versus PayPal. You can do PayPal, but I think she has their fees or something are taken from that. So mail a check in. You can email your registration back to her, and the directions and everything are on there. But if you have any questions, definitely reach out to Julie and I or your team leaders regarding that. And just want to encourage everyone, though, as we are moving forward with that, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, we're going to tie in really with our action games, our activities. So the homework that you had last week of listening to the Eric Worre and listening to Gordon Hester, we'll touch on that here now, but that's going to really be a big bonus, a big jumpstart here for so many as we're getting information about the Shred, as the new Shred Guide distributor tools come out here probably within this week, just getting us all up to speed on those tools and systems so that we have some really amazing activity that's going to be jumping out starting February 1st here with that action game with our bigger team. So lots of ways to rock and earn money here for conference in Anaheim. And with that, Julie, I'm going to turn over to her to talk a little about the Gordon Hester homework and Shred 10 and our Healthy Living Revolution. Thanks.
Awesome. So there were kind of 3 things that came up last week. It's just awesome influx of education and updates and information. So I loved the webinars that Christy shared for the homework last week, one being the Eric Worre that she's going to tie together here at the end. The other was the Gordon Hester webinar. And if you guys have not had a chance to listen to it, I do encourage you to still do that. It's amazing. And I did lots of things while I listened to it. So I did take a few notes that I wanted to share just to recap how I see it playing out for our team. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, Christy Lido had actually found it, I think, and shared it, and Christy Vogelsberg posted it in our Facebook Team Abundance group, so that's where you can find it. And it's a call that Gordon Hester, who was a financial and business advisor to the top income earner in the Juice Plus company. Gordon Hester's been around the Juice Plus company for probably over 35 years, I would guess, almost. I don't remember how long Jeff Roberti's been with the company. And he just has a lot of wisdom and has a great business mind. He did a call for an Australian team, and that's the recording. But it's interesting. It's a year old or older. It's from the middle of 2015, but it is so relevant to everything that we're doing today. And it's all about abundance, which just made my heart sing. I absolutely love our team name and what we're all about. And his call is just very much focused on that. He talked about abundance being a mindset, and that you may have to kind of shift that. It needs to become a standard of thinking for you, and that it does take an abundance of activity to have an abundance of the wins and the success. And that's so true in life in general, that you get out of it what you put into it. So I don't necessarily want to regurgitate everything he said, but I do want to encourage you to listen to it. It plays into so much of what we're doing. But a couple things, I mean, he talks about he who serves the best profits the most. And I wrote down the biggest note I took is that Team Abundance, what I want our goal to be for this year is to provide the ultimate service experience. And if we're doing that at the prospect customer level, the distributor level, we really are going to impact more lives. And it's really when you're going to find the joy, I think, in what we do, is when you know that you're offering that value to someone's life. And so it is about creating that. And I know I have fallen short on that the last couple years, and I'm excited to step up my game. And I feel like now more than ever, we have the tools in place through the Healthy Living Revolution, our Shred 10 program, and especially the new Shred 10 distributor manual that's coming out. And I thought it would be posted by today and that we could share the screen and go over some things with you. But I am going to touch on some things. I had the privilege to proof it and give some feedback. And so I have that knowledge base of actually reading the whole document. And then many of you plugged in. The third kind of tool that came up last week that we posted about was a webinar that Jennifer Myers did Wednesday night. So many of you have maybe had the opportunity to watch that live or catch the recording where she's going through that information. She had the privilege of seeing it too, because she's part of the committee for the Healthy Living Revolution that has put it all together. So in taking what Gordon Hester talks about, in providing this ultimate service experience, he really has 5 key things that he talks about. And the whole, premise of it is that our customer's perception should be our reality. So we may think we're doing a great job, but it's our customer's perception that is actually the reality. So he talks about to build the service experience, and this is what then will tie into what we're doing in our Healthy Living Revolution, our customer group, in offering programs like the Shred 10 to people, that it needs to be positive, meaningful, create hope, confirm hope, and magnify hope. And I will say that I'm seeing all of that happen in our current Shred 10 group. It is awesome to see the difference that these changes are making in people's life. And it's what Gordon's talking about in this recording from 2015, that when you tie our products to a support community and some additional changes, that's where people have the greatest results, and they'll stay hooked then forever. And that's what I'm seeing in the people that I have, even with my less than perfect customer care, people that have done the shreds in October, they're texting me that they need more complete. They're seeing a difference. The ones that we're doing now, I just feel like our shred groups are so much more interactive right now. For those of you who are in the ones this month, it's really exciting to see the difference that we're making in people's life and how we're helping them make these healthy changes. So I can't wait for our February one. The exciting thing is the Shred 10 distributor guide that's coming out really does give you all the tools, I think, in place to do what Gordon is recommending us to do. So if you did listen Wednesday night to Jennifer Myers' call, you will already know some of this, but I just want to touch on a couple of things. He talks, Brian Rose is the one that kind of spearheaded it, and it's definitely a lot of his language and verbiage. I think he probably was the primary author of the guide, with everyone's input. But, there is a rhythm to it, and that's what ties in perfectly to the other part of our homework from last week, Eric Worre and his 20 and 30 that Christy's going to wrap up here for us at the end. But with the Healthy Living Revolution and all the Shred 10, there is a system, there is support in place. And I'm actually going to share the screen. And if you guys have not taken a look at things recently, that is part of the homework for this week, is just getting on to, so when you're on the Healthy Living Revolution website, and can you guys see my screen now? Oops. Are you guys there?
We can see it.
Okay.
But
Awesome.
There's not anything pulled up yet.
Right. Yep, that's good. When you go to healthylivingrevolution.com and you click on the toggle, I was going to try to take you guys through that, but I know we've shown it before. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, there's the little icon, and when you click on that, it takes you to the Resource Center, where then the password is Revolution, and this is the Resource Center. So I'd love for people to take some time on Mission Driven Model, which Christy's going to share a little bit too in a minute. But we will post on Facebook when this gets updated again. But you see the Shred Guide, which you all are probably familiar with. If not, you can take a look at that. That is what, it's this document here. That is what our customers who are participating in the Shred have access to. You don't want to send it to people prior to that, really. There's the Shred 10 presentation booklet, and you guys, there's a script. So there are the videos, and that's what in the Shred distributor guide, there is actual verbiage. I mean, they're going to tell you, you want to jot down 100 names, you want to message them and see if they're open to watching a quick video, you send them this video here, okay? That's the introduction video. But the fact also is, when you're sitting down one-on-one or doing other things, there are these PowerPoints, there's, the presentation booklet and a script but it's all here. So I do encourage you to familiarize yourself with the tools on here, the order form. This is the system guide that is going to have every answer to how to do this business using this program. And it says coming soon still, but that is what I'm going to give you a couple tips on today. But you want to familiarize yourself with the things in here that you can use as resources. The Shred 10 video resources, I actually copied these. So I went on this website and I copied them. We've posted these in Team Abundance too, thanks to, I think it was Sharon Schneider. But if you want all the newest things, I literally copied it like this, and I sent it in an email to myself. And so I would have it on my phone, and you can also, if you find it in our Facebook group, you can copy the text there, but save them in your phone so you have them to send to people. The introduction to the shred, this first one, is what you want to send to people for, an introduction to the shred and to learn more to see if they want to do it with us. And then the rest of these are ones that some of them we will have worked into our shred group in the future, but you'll also find in the guide that you can send these to some of your people participating in the shred as well. And then the other thing, that's just all the different ones. The Facebook event, thanks to Michelle Brunke for setting that up for us. And there is another one tomorrow night that you guys can plug into. But there are more show and tell presentations, the PowerPoint presentation. And in the PowerPoint presentation, there is a script. I mean, it tells you what to say for every page of it. So the informal events, this is what Michelle and I were embracing last week. If you pull up this PDF, it has the verbiage of exactly what to do at an in-home event. So when you're doing some of your tastings or things, this, if you print out this one page, it has the script ideas, and it has options for if you want to play videos or if you just want to speak through what your experience is. I will say the one tweak that Michelle and I were trying to make for her event last week, Michelle, you're going to make me yawn, is to show the Shred 10 video. So I don't know why I'm scrolling down the wrong thing here. So it has all the different scripts. So we were going to skip the Healthy Living Revolution video. We were just going to talk through the verbiage for that, and then go through the rest of the script idea. And then at the bottom, it says you have two options, play the video or use the verbiage. Again, there we were using the verbiage, but down toward the bottom where it's having someone share their shred story and all that kind of stuff, we were going to show Jake, Kelly, and Mitra Ray's video there. So that's just one little suggestion and tweak on that. If you want, feel free to tweak this however it works best to you. But these are events that you can fill your calendar with, whether they're one-on-one or you're getting groups together. But I wanted to make sure you do realize where some of that is. So there is verbiage built into the PowerPoints that you can see on every slide. And then there are tons of images here if you have not been on here lately. And there are more coming all the time. So these are all images you can save, you can use to promote just Healthy Living Revolution in general, Shred 10. So this is where you can access all this. And if you don't know how to save things on your phone, they even have a little tutorial right here, a quick little picture that tells you how to save it. So we will let you know as soon as they do post the Shred 10 guide on here, where it says coming soon now, the system guide that you guys can all access. But I will say a couple of things from Wednesday that apply to our team too. If you have watched that Wednesday night message from Jennifer Myers, they recommend doing Facebook events instead of Facebook groups. And we have been doing groups. I will say Brian Rose, he's even going to do groups through April, and then he's going to switch to events. And he was one of the founders of all of this. But we are going to keep our group for February because some people have already been added to it. But starting with our March shred, we will switch to the recommendation of doing an event. So just so you guys know about that, it will be set up as a Facebook event instead of a Facebook group. For those who haven't heard yet, the rationale behind that is that it does go away. And there have been some issues across different companies or things where customers in those groups actually use it to market and reach out to the other people in the group. And we don't want that happening. We want it to stay private. So much of what we share in that, what has been a group or will be an event in the future, is also in just our other customer information and stuff. So, it's not like they can save things if they need them. And it does stay as a past event for a little while that they can access. And then, if it goes away after that, it's not the end of the world. They can let us know if they have questions or need anything to access again in the future. So that is just one update. We will be doing the Facebook event. The other thing that I think is great is all the messaging. So where I want to take our customer care up a notch, anyone that's participating in the shred, we will have that Facebook event where we have lots of great interaction and loving on people. But in that system guide, they recommend texting your customers who are participating. There are 3 scripted texts for each of the first 5 days of the shred. And then days 6 through 10, there's 1 scripted message. So sending that, and I'm like kicking myself that I hadn't thought of it or done stuff like that in the past. But I'm excited to step up my game, and that will definitely help provide the ultimate service experience. If I'm texting them daily, several things throughout the first few days, and then once a day after that, and all the scripting is in that guide, so you don't even have to come up with it. You can version it for you if it doesn't feel authentic, but they're really great messages. And some of it is sharing those videos. So I do recommend getting those video links saved where you have them easily accessible, because then you can shoot them one of those videos and stuff too. And then the other thing that flows perfectly into our whole Arakori concept is the messaging that's in that guide to reach out to people. And then how you want to do the whole flow. So you're going to see in that system guide, there's a rhythm for the Shred 10. So our whole revolution is the overlying kind of theme and our mission. But there is this Shred 10 program that we can offer people. And in that program, you're hosting a shred the first 10 days of the month. And so you're loving on those people that are in the shred, and you're doing that. The next part of the month, days like 11 through 20, you're following up with those people, making sure they're doing well, transitioning out of the Shred 10, and also asking them if they have anyone else that they would like to have join us for a future shred. And then days 21 through 30, you're helping any of them get started as distributors, and you're also messaging new people to see who wants to join you for your next shred. So it's kind of a whole rhythm, and that goes hand in hand with the other video that Christy encouraged everyone to watch for homework last week with the Arakori 20 and 30, and it's ramping up the activity that then can go hand in hand with our awesome customer care. So I'm going to turn it over to Christy to touch on that.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I am going to share my screen here. So I am now on our mission-driven model.info. So that's the other piece we're going to look at here today. And actually, I'm just going to go back to the home page so everybody knows where we land on here. So again, just as a reminder, like we had gone through back in November, we spent a lot of time walking through these concepts here, the different sections. So this is back to even a year or so ago, I think when we heard this from Don Rathman many moons ago, that we have principles in our business that never change. And then, meaning inspiring healthy living, that we are a mission-driven people group. We want to help people add more fruits and vegetables. We're relationship-based. Those are principles that just drive our business regardless of what systems or tools or products even that we have come onto the market. So everything that we have will really follow in what that principle is. But then our systems, those will rarely change. So right now, yes, we are in a place of, for example, mission-driven model. This is a system. Now, our tools, by virtue of things being a tool, we know that tools frequently change. So as there's new videos and new information information out there. So that's always a really good thing to keep in mind. So as long as you are familiar with, and we're going to aid in that each month when we have our team calendar out, we'll have also now that little section at the bottom that will have, here's our getting started tools, right? Here's our systems. So as long as you are keeping familiar and you know, okay, missiondrivenmodel.info, that's the system, right, that I need to go to find the information. So yes, things will be a little bit, may look a little different. Before, a few months ago, it may have just been the getting started checklist, where now there's a fast track and points chart. So things may change a little bit in the areas, and especially obviously as our Shred 10 has come out on our, as far as our program and Healthy Living Revolution. So there'll be new things that are added, but the system itself will remain the same. Just like the healthylivingrevolution.com, that website, that's a piece of our system where then you'll go to access the guides and the tools and such. So the other piece then of our homework is we want to first have you make sure you're updating and just becoming more familiar, like Julie said, with the healthylivingrevolution.com website. Okay, and the back office piece of that, but then also our missiondrivenmodel.info. So if you've not taken a peek at that here recently, a lot of this then reflects the new things that are in the shred. So the one piece of this that I want to touch on is creating the best customer experience. And so two quick things out of here. One is our customer profile. So again, as you are adding a new customer to this, here's your little checklist. So again, their survey and their profile, those things are going to be right there. And then again, you can just on the back of that even keep track of the customer check-ins that we're doing that are going to be listed in the distributor manual for Shred 10. But here's another, just a great flow sheet. So I want you to make sure this piece in particular, the Shred 10 customer journey, as you're inviting people, that you're familiar with this. And this really walks through, again, how that flow, it gives you kind of an idea of what that flow is going to look like. So again, how are we sharing the Shred 10? So one thing that I have done is I actually, my 3-ring binder, I printed out my cookbook. So I have my Revolution recipes off of the HLR website. So I have that cookbook. And then at the beginning of it, though, I have printed off the Shred 10 guide. And then at the end of it, then I have in Sheet Protectors, I have my, here's where we get started and the order forms. So I kind of keep all of that together because I'm sharing the recipes, I'm sharing the presentation book and helping them get ordered, get started, but I can put all of that, just throw that in my bag whenever, wherever I'm going. So that would be one thing. If you haven't already, maybe do that because you'll share both the recipes and the tools with it. So that is one thing I'm doing. And again, looking at our personalized messaging blitz. So, and it can be, the idea, again, the Eric Worre idea is, and you'll, again, as you see that as the guide comes out, is we need to have enough people, though, in the funnel that we're having opportunities for relationship and conversation. So that's why they suggest, at least 100 names that we're putting out there. And when we get ready for those, I highly encourage you to play the action game with us here with Nyla, because there'll be set blitz times throughout each week of that action game that's going on. And so what that's going to look like is you'll get on either a call or a Zoom like this, and you'll be able to say, okay, everybody, here's what we're planning. Any questions? Ready, set, go. And then you're going to spend like the next 40 minutes just sending out as many messages as you can. So it's not that, oh, I got a message back, let me go down a bunny trail and try to answer or think about it. It's really just sending out everybody that's on your list. So if you've got 30 people you're inviting to an event, or 30 people you're doing a personalized message out regarding inviting them maybe to participate in the next Shred 10 or to get on a Facebook event or whatever the thing is you're inviting for, just send all your outgoing messages. Don't worry about anything that comes back to you. Just send all the outgoing ones comes first. And then as we follow up and when you hop back on with the group, if there are things where you're not sure, like, okay, they said this or they had a question about that, where should I go or what would be a good video maybe to send, then you get to hear all that Q&A that will take place with the person that's helping to host the Blitz and the interaction that's going on of those that are on there. So again, using these things really together is fabulous. And again, with the Eric Worre, the idea of, 20 conversations, can we have 20 conversations in the next 30 days, and those courageous conversations? And so some of his things, when you go through there, he's speaking to network marketing, direct sales in general. And so for many, many, many companies, many things, they are signing up, like he may say, recruit 20 people in 30 days. Well, then when he further clarifies, he is saying, well, some people may just be customers, and some may, want to just do a little, and some may want to actually be business builders. But he lumps all that into those 20 and 30 days. So for our world, that to say, let's have 20 courageous conversations, but think about, is this a community conversation? Is it a product conversation, a business conversation? What type of conversation am I having with them? Just have that conversation, get in conversation with them, or invite them to check out a video, or again, invite them, be transparent about getting on the shred. So maybe it is like a message I could send out is, hey, I feel like this is something I've really enjoyed, or here's my results that I've seen with the shred, but gosh, here's an area personally that I'm really struggling, or I really need accountability. Would you be open, if I send you a video, would you be open to checking out or considering, partnering with me? I think it'd be great. We have similar schedules. It'd be awesome to meet up at the gym together, or something to that extent. But being transparent about areas, you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be some perfect, shred tenor, or have a perfect body, a perfect message, or have it all figured out. You're going to be way more approachable and way more relational, not being perfect and being vulnerable to say that, okay? Because that's where definitely those relationships are built. So again, sharing, that goes down to, again, sharing your stories of either what you've seen, what you'd like to achieve, where your obstacles are, but again, focusing though really on them, and then as you share that information, they may want to know more about, well, tell me more about that complete. Great. Here, let me send you this quick little video by Jan Roberto, Dr. Roberto, or to say, hey, you'd actually qualify because your kids for the children's study. Here, let me send you a quick little thing on that. And then again, taking them to, here's the order form. Here we are ready to get started. And again, those packages that you'll be able to see all that scripting there right in the guide here once that comes out. And then for many of you may have already seen Brian Rose, he explains a little bit more about the ordering of that. So if you haven't, you can watch that quick little video. And then the education piece, though, that is so key. So part of that is we're going to have the video with Dr. Mitra Ray, that you have the introductory video to say, yes, I'm interested. And now they say, okay, now I'm ready to place my order. So now they're going to watch Mitra's video, and then, okay, once you finish this, then I'll add you to our Facebook group or our event, as that will be coming down to get the rest of the resources. And so again, that's their first piece. Then we're adding them to the events. They're looking at the guide, they're getting themselves ready. And then we're going to be doing our, again, our excellent customer care. And also, this was a little tweak for me of understanding kind of the difference where we say, like the shred it, live it, share it. So you'll see this looks similar. There's a similar picture on, here's what's going on those 10 days, but this is the live it part. So these are the things that they're going to be looking at ideally, again, for at least the next 20 days. So for the rest of the month after they do their shred, right? Ideally, if they can maintain dairy and gluten-free for that 30 days, and then, they may still have some caffeine or, a drink or something here or there, but overall, well, these are the things that we're wanting them to help focus on for the rest of that month. And as again, they're getting these great results, then that's where the share it piece is going to come into. So that was a helpful for me to see. It's like, well, what's the ongoing piece look like? So again, you can copy and save that there. And then my understanding is too, there'll be another video with Mitra that will come out after they have completed their shred. So they'll have a pre-shred video, then Mitra will have a post-shred video that they'll watch that will be more of this stuff in terms of the maintenance. And so again, just making sure all those things are in that rhythm and flow. And like Julie had said earlier, when we're doing the Eric Worre, if you are focusing on that, just making sure you do have enough conversations and enough people in the funnel that you're able to have quality, authentic conversations with them, so that you can start to move them through this this flow in this series. And the last thing I want to share real quick though is, really looking at so much of our business, and even Jay Martin's like it's eyeball to eyeball, it's relational, one-on-one, two-on-one, and even seeing so many of the teams that are growing at a really fast pace. There is that series of educational and relational exposures over time. So thinking about, and Wendy used to say this years ago, she called it kitchen table training. She's like, there's way more kitchen tables than there are Sheridans here in the country. And that's really how so many of our teams and businesses have been built over the years, is looking at really building, are you doing a great job of building up those three-way connection calls, those conference calls, if we're not in the same community or you don't have the opportunity to meet face-to-face with someone, making sure that you're doing that with people first and foremost. Why do they want to get on the phone with Julie? Why do they want to get on with me? What's in it for them? How, helping to convey that that is an event in and of itself, that because we care so much about them and their experience and we want to know their story. It's all about them. And yes, maybe there's some things that would be similar in our stories or our experience that might be an encouragement for them. But you really want to build for that event and not have it be, oh, okay, new district. Well, if you have any questions, Julie or Christy are here, and treat it like it's like we're some just, tech support, customer service. Like, that's not it. And if we're building for it that way, like, okay, they're here to answer questions, versus no, our job is to help cast vision and all those things that Eric Worre, Gordon Hester had talked about of creating that meaningful experience and help to cast vision of that hope of what's going to happen for them, especially when we're talking business and looking at their healthy living plan and looking at being part of our team and our community. So they need to have a relationship with us or anyone, whether it's Sideline or whomever, but somebody that's not you. Again, it's not you. They need a relationship just with someone that's not you, just like they need a relationship with somebody that's not me or somebody that's not Julie. Like, we all have to have that third party experience there to help move people forward. So that's the one big thing I'd encourage. If you feel like you're stuck at a level, whether it's I can't get orders or I'm not able to get customers like I want to, or I get to a certain point, it's like, okay, then bring us in and let us help you get that order. Let us be that third party. So that's your first piece. Let us help you build that to get that 40 customer base. Or if you're stuck at, man, I'm doing great at getting customers, I'm having awesome experience, but I'm not getting distributors, then you're not using your support team enough. You're not casting vision and not bringing us on. You need the amen of the other. It's biblical, 2 by 2. We got to go out 2 by 2 to cast vision through that. So again, using these tools are awesome, but then also make sure you're bringing in those personal relationships. And obviously our Facebook events and things that we have going on, they do get an opportunity to feel that community. So that's just going to help move them down the pike and get to experience our village or our tribe, even more so, and even a little bit even easier, so much easier than it had been before. So again, with our homework on this end is familiarize yourself again with some of the tools on the mission-driven model. Make sure you're working on that customer list, and then also get registered if you haven't already for Nyla's action game, and that will start here the 1st of February, and it's due in 2 days, January 25th. Okay, so make sure you at least get her emailed back your registration, especially those going to Branson. Do that before Branson is here. So, and with that, Julie, I will turn it back to you.
Great. I had to unmute. That's great. Thank you so much. There's so many awesome new things, and take it in one bite at a time. But yes, a lot of what is in the guide is already on missiondrivenmodel.info in the pages. So that's a great way to start. Real quick before we end the recording, Angie, if you have a place to share, I think you had a win. Michelle said that if you want to share a win from last week, and if you don't, that's no big deal. But she had called on you earlier, I think, when you had to step away. Now I hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Somebody went into labor at the school. I had a little snafu. We got it all situated, but we may get a baby. Got to keep the school going. Okay. So I did have a couple of things. First off, we know how hard family is. And I think my Zach and Blair even came to a wine tasting that you and Georgianne did in Little Rock at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were all excited about it and everything. But then they decided I was buying their food and they were just starting their income base and trying to take over some of the bills I'd always paid for Zach. And, they wanted to be big kids and take all them on. And I wanted to give them to them. And we did. But they were like, quit buying us Juice Plus. You don't need to do that for us when we eat healthy. And I'm like, okay. But then she got pregnant. And I'm like, she's got to have this Juice Plus kids. Well, now they've shifted and they both have really good jobs and they make too much money for kids their age. And so anyway, and at one point Blair even said, I think these things are making me feel sick in my pregnancy. And I'm like, you probably felt sick and just had one at the wrong time, but it's okay. You decide. Well, now Zach contacted me last week and he goes, okay, I need some recovery shakes. Do you think yours will work? And I'm like, you already know those are going to work. Let me bring you a handful. So I took him some and he called this morning and goes, okay, we've got one card. Let's order shakes. So we ordered shakes. That's family thing. So that's kind of a big deal. And then the other thing is one of my school family just had a baby and they have an 18-month in the school. So now she really has her hands full because she has a new baby. And it's another shake deal. And I don't know what made her think she wanted those unless she saw one of us having one because we just drink them all day long over there. And so I mixed her up one and then her baby, her 18-month-old had straw just go into town on it. So now she was trying over the weekend to order them. And I said, just call me today when you have your baby to sleep and we'll get you some smoothies ordered. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Big little wins.
Hey, those are good. Every win is a win. Thank you so much, Angie. Before we stop the recording, does anyone have any questions about anything we covered today? I think, Viv, you had a question.
Yeah, I do. You and Chris are both talking about three-way calls, and I'm really bad about utilizing them. But what verbiage do you use to invite someone to do a three-way call? And what would your, I talked to a prospect who wanted me to call him Sunday morning. I'm at church, but I did call him. But how do I invite him to do a three-way call? I mean, how do you say it? I'm not good at it, and that's probably why I have not been doing three-way calls.
Yeah, I think, and Christy, I don't know if you still have it, but there is verbiage on Mission Driven Model for connection calls, and I do recommend using that verbiage so that then if that person becomes a team member, you can point back to that script and they'll remember, oh yeah, that's what Viv said when she got me on the phone with Julie and Christy. So you may tweak it a little bit that it's authentic to you, but I do recommend looking at that verbiage because it's great. It's simple. It's from Julie Herbst, I'm sure, is who it originated from. But primarily, the biggest time that you would use Christy and me is with distributors more than with prospects for someone who's a sales coordinator or above, But there are those people that you need that third-party amen. So definitely, I would just, ask if they're open to visiting. So you do have to edify and build us up. And then when we're on the phone, we edify and build you up as a contact too. But like Christy was saying, and it's different. It's different if it's a customer call. So anyone new in the business, you want them doing three-way calls with you as their team leader or Christy or me or whatever to help get them comfortable in that getting new customer experience, then it's getting them on the phone with us from a distributor standpoint. So I think that you're asking about, is it a customer, a potential customer, or a distributor?
Well, I have both.
Yeah.
And I haven't been using you guys. So.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, Angie, definitely.
Okay, so from my historical perspective, I'm an HR person, and there's an onboarding process if you have a business. So what I did was a shift in thinking when I come back from Mars, and I decided that anybody that comes through me that says, okay, I'm ready, I want to be part of the mission, I just say, okay, here's step one. Let's get you signed up. Step two, do you have time now? Can I get someone on Boxer that says that they can do a three-way call? That's just part of our onboarding. Step three, join the noon calls. Now, those first parts did happen. The noon call things, that can go kapooty if you're rocking a baby or in the middle of a move or new job or whatever's happening. But is everyone that comes through me going forward, that's just going to be considered onboarding. So.
Yeah. That's good. And it really needs to be. And it actually, on the getting started checklist, it's on there to do a call with Upline and MD. So that's just part of that checklist too, of, getting your people on the phone with us so that we can help cast vision and things like that as well. Christy, I know you probably have some comments too.
Yes, no, and just one quick thing too, like you mentioned, I love that, coming back to the getting started. So that's what I'm encouraging. The best thing that we can do as we go through this next month is really just focusing on what are those first steps. Have you gone through the fast track checklist yourself? And if so, or maybe you're trying to work to get a customer qualified business, or moving down the pike with that, but just getting comfortable with those things, do those activities to get the familiarity with it, and scheduling those connection calls. And maybe it is maybe you have a ton of customers, you're great at getting and keeping customers, but in yours, again, it would be more so inviting to the mission, inviting to find out, maybe you've talked to them a little about the shred, and then it's saying, hey, well, Julie or Christy or whomever, they would love to hear your story, or to find out, how you can maybe offset your cost or get your whole family started with Juice Plus. So, would there be a time that we could connect? And I know the scripting on there is more directed towards, hey, I'd love for you to hear their story, but I would probably tweak it just a little bit and say, I was telling Julie about you, and she said she would love to hear more about your story, the customer story, like more about them and their needs and their goals and such. And so I think some of it will just be more intuitive based on what you see their need is. Or maybe if they're saying, gosh, I would like to get my whole family on, but I don't know that I can afford it, then your conversation may be more like, well, gosh, my friend or my daughter Julie or my friend Christy or whomever, that's what they love to do, is help people to pay for their product as they're sharing our mission. Maybe we could get together and they can brainstorm and share about how other people just like you have done this. I'd love for her to hear your story and what's going on with your family, and just give us some options that might be great for you. We work together as a team on this, and I would love for you to get connected, and we can brainstorm on a couple things. So just keep it kind of non-specific. It doesn't have to be like super detailed out. You don't have to go into all the HLP and all that. Just, hey, here's some ideas. Let's talk about how some options would work. And here's the person to talk to. Let's schedule it.
I was trying to pull up those scripts, but my computer wouldn't load. But I do think, and one thing that could be good too, we heard, I forget where or when it was, but it was so great when someone asks, how much is Juice Plus? You don't necessarily answer that, but you ask, well, it depends, like, what are your health goals and what are your budgets? Because we can design a program that fits within your parameters. So maybe, if it is a customer prospect, maybe it is, I'd love for you to visit with Julie. She's taken Juice Plus, used it for 17 years. She can explain the different options. Great. I know she'd love to hear more about why you're wanting to get on it and help design a program or something like that. If it's someone newer in the business or someone that you're talking to that's customer prospect wise, that may be a really comfortable way to get them on the phone with us too. But the biggest thing is they have to be interested. So don't take it personally if they're not interested. If they're not, you have to have great energy inviting them to do the three-way, that it builds it up, that they want to do it. But if they don't, then it's a next situation. Like, you just let it go. I mean, if they're not willing to get on the phone with someone, then they don't have enough interest to learn more, and you're just going to go the route of sending them another video or something like that to keep dripping until they realize what they're missing. But yeah, and then from a business standpoint, it's definitely just part of that getting started. Like Angie said, it's just going to be part of her standard onboarding. So
One more thing.
yes.
When we got off the calls, since I started doing that, I have never felt so loved and nurtured in my life. And I know that that's how my new rep felt. And before I would think, oh, you guys can't be bothered with this kind of stuff. But as I get the broader picture and think about Nyla and think about what I noticed at Phoenix, and that we really are in a mission together. And I learned so much listening to you talk to Danielle. And I learned when I hear Georgia and talk to folk in our three-way call. So I get off there going, oh man, I didn't know that good. So then it's noted, but just feeling loved and nurtured, and then knowing that my downline feels that too.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it is. I think there's a comfort level in feeling like, you know, I think there's a history of, or this crustiness in our brain, magnet, that like it's going to be uncomfortable for someone to put them on the phone with us. And that's not it. It's a beautiful connection. It's connecting people who care, who are there to share. And so if you have those thoughts, you need to kick them to the curb. And as Angie said, it's really time in love and fellowship. And so you want to connect on that. The best way to schedule calls, I think Christy just, text or box her to set it up. And for me right now, I have not updated my Sign Up Genius because I'm settling into the semester and figuring out my schedule. But I know that is helpful for some people when I do have the Sign Up Genius calendar, because then you at least, your schedule and my schedule, and then you're just trying to figure out the other ones. So I'll keep you posted, and I'll put a message in Team Abundance on Facebook with that. It still is the same link. I know Georgianne never used the link. If she went to Sign Up Genius to find my calendar, you can just type in my email address, and it would pull up if there's a up-to-date calendar. So it's just juliemahadra@gmail.com. So when you go to signupgenius.com, you just type in my email. You can search for it that way. But it is not updated now. But just text us or box us if you want to schedule something. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great question, because that is how we're going to grow and build our businesses. So I'm really glad you asked. Any other questions? Nope. I know this was long today. Thank you guys for hanging in there. And if any of the team leaders want to stay on for any other questions and stuff, I'll stop the recording now, and we can carry on. Thanks for joining us.